So, okay, so we're going to talk about samples to do's and don'ts. So Molly, I know Hannah said she had 11 samples out. What, you have several going out too, or already out?
Yeah, I've sent out about 3 or 4, but that was a few weeks ago.
Okay. Okay. Well, this will be good. Just sort of good to know like when you want to send them. So, all right. So first off, I'll give you the good and the bad of free samples versus someone paying for samples. So ideally, best case scenario is to not offer a sample right up front, like the immediate connection, not just say, hey, you want a sample, you want a sample, you want a sample. Unless, like, we'll talk about scenarios about when to offer a sample. But the very beginning, I'm making a note so we can talk about that. The very beginning, best thing to do is start with getting someone to commit to 30 days. Why is that important? Because we know at the end of 30 days, someone's going to feel great. They're going to have multiple things that impact their life. If they are adamant that 30 days is not in their budget, they don't want to do that, they're too skeptical, then really going to that 2-week package, which is the newer package, is like step number 2. Really getting them to commit, hey, it's $100. Most of the time, 90% of people are going to feel great at the end of 2 weeks. And then a lot of people are like, they don't want to do that. They're still skeptical. I think I probably would have. I started out on a sample, right? So I probably would have felt the same way. I don't know if I would have made the initial investment. So that is where really samples come into play. One mistake I made a lot along the way was I was like, oh, you want a sample? Yeah, let me send you a sample. And then I never even really like walked through the process of really getting them to try to get them to commit to 30 days. So that is like the first step in the mindset of a sample. Is it's sort of like the last resort. In some scenarios, other scenarios it's not, but just the general picture. So paid samples versus free samples. When I give a free sample, I have found it best to still, it needs to have some value to it. Because when I just give you a free sample, 3-day sample, that has cost me $20 to $25, right? Like out of my pocket. So I want you to think about that sample as you giving that person $25. Like, here you go. And so you got to think like that is $25 of your money out there working. And these are like your little soldiers, right? These little samples are like your little soldiers. So there is value to it, but when we just give it away, the value, like the person we're giving it to does not know that. They may think that we get free samples, that we have like unlimited samples the company gives us. We know that's not true. So what you can do for that, and I didn't do this with a lot of people, which is why I developed a way, because what happens, you guys, I'm actually looking at, I am looking at 14 samples right now that people have had for over 9 months. All right, some of these people, they've had samples for 18 months. Guess what? They've never used them. Guess why? Because there's no value to it, because I did not do it correctly. And sometimes when I get in a huge rush, or I'm like just wanting to get somebody a sample, I don't do it right. And it, generally speaking, doesn't work out as much. So here's sort of my rule of thumb when I'm giving someone a free sample. They have to have a free account. Okay. Number 1, get a free account with you. So they need to have a username and password. They need to be connected to you, because guess what? They love that sample. They go on and order. And they don't have a free account. They're ordering from someone else. Most likely they found in Google. Number 2 is I have them hear someone else's story, invite them to something. So I give them the fan page and I'll say, hey, go read 2 or 3 stories on there. Like, which one spoke to you the most? I'll send them a YouTube video. I'll get them on a 3-way phone call. That's the best. Okay, because usually you can turn a sample into a 30-day commitment when you get on a 3-way phone call. So a 3-way phone call, a 3-way chat on Facebook, expose them to someone else's story besides yours, because they've heard what the product has done for you. But let's say they know Hannah's story, but they don't know Natalie's. So getting some sort of like third-party person, like to share their story. If it's live, it's great. Inviting them to listen to a live video, share one of your teammates' live videos, just expose them to someone else besides you. And the final thing that I ask them to do is post on social media. And sometimes people will and sometimes they won't. And I don't make this like a non-negotiable, but I do say to them, hey Karen, I do say to them, when you get this, it will really help me if you put it out on your counter, if you hold it, if you take a selfie with your DFT on, and you just say, hey Hannah, hey Molly, hey Karen, thanks for hooking me up. I'm so excited to see what this product's all about. And just tag me, because you can say to them, this is like word of mouth is what helps my business grow. Because what happens, you guys, generally is, let's just say that Hannah, your friend, posts. Well, guess what? She may have a lot of people. She may have a lot of people that are like, ooh, I want to do that. What is that? I want to do that. I want to do that. And then all of a sudden, she's like, well, I got all these people who are interested. That's exactly how I became a promoter. Not from posting, but just from saying, like, sharing it with people. And I had a bunch of referrals, and then Amber was like, you should promote. And I was like, eh. But she never knew that. Had she not, said, hey, share your story with people, I never would have. So that is sort of my rule of thumb for free product. And if you haven't done any of that with the products that you've given out, it's okay. Do what you can between now and then. If someone really doesn't want to do that, if they, they have to have a free account for sure. But if they don't want to do anything else, then I will just say, hey, right now, the 3-day sample is $20. You can Venmo me, you can PayPal, because the whole point of it is not about the money, or it's not about doing the thing. It's the value. They have to sort of like work for it. So it's like the value that you're creating. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions about that? Or clarify anything? No.
I will definitely say that when I sent my samples out, now these were potentials that I have been working on for a while.
Okay.
And have been super skeptical, have not really said, yes, let's try this. I was trying to get them on board.
Yeah.
But then all of them were dead ends after that. They tried my the 3-day sample, and then nothing. I had gotten no response from any of them.
Yeah.
So I felt like I just threw that product away that I could just be using because I love it.
Yes. So, yes. Well, and I think I've done it, Molly, like, don't feel bad. I have done that so many times, girl, like so many times. And so sometimes what happens when we're like, oh my God, that person needs it. They need it. They would love it. And then they could share it and they would be so great. And then we just almost like sort of force it into them when they're just not ready. Whereas if we just love on them and we try to be a little bit more patient and we try to expose them to maybe a YouTube or maybe to one of our learning sessions or something like that, then they are, then they sort of are like, yeah, I'm a little bit more interested. And I will say to them, if I give you this sample, like, I'm giving this to you as a gift. And I up front say to them, like, I'm giving this to you because I want you to experience it. But here's what you need to know. You're not going to feel anything. Like, you have to lay the expectations out for them. And I say, you are not going to feel anything. You guys, if they feel something, great. But you're telling them they're not going to, because at the end of 3 days, when they don't, because half of people don't, they're not disappointed and they don't say, well, Molly, I'm glad it's working for you, but it didn't work for me. It's not the case. They did 3 days, right? Or if they detox. So I always say to them, this sample, this is what you can expect. And I use those words. This is what you can expect. You can expect to see what the lifestyle mix tastes like. You can see how simple the process is. You're not going to feel anything. If you do, don't pay too much attention to it because it gets a million times better. And that's like what I say, because if they do, like, I have someone today who's on day 1 and she's like, I'm pretty sure I'm feeling energy. She goes, I don't know if it's placebo or not. I said, it's not placebo, but don't worry about it because you'll feel a million times better. But she's on 3 days. And I'm like, you need to go on an order, girl, because you do not want to run out of this. Like, but I'm also just letting her know, like, yes, you're feeling it, but it's going to get better, because we all know that it does, right? So don't worry about that being a dead end. And in the future, Molly, what you can go back and do, and any of you guys that you've done a sample and it turned into a dead end road, what I would do is I will go back and I'll say, I am so sorry. I sent you this sample. I was new. I am so excited about what it was doing for me. And I didn't even give you any expectations. I didn't even realize, because you're probably thinking you took the sample and it didn't knock your socks off in 3 days. And let's just say you can't go to the gym and get abs in 3 days. You can't go on a diet and be at your goal weight in 3 days. It's the same with Thrive. And I would just like, it's almost like better just to like call yourself out. I'm new, so you could always do that, Molly. Like, even if it's not now, set a reminder for your phone in like 30 days and do it or something like where
Okay.
where you're comfortable. I've done that a gazillion times. Trust me. I was like ignorance on fire, you guys. Amber was still new. Like we didn't have a darn clue what we were doing. The setup was nothing like it is now. I literally was throwing product at anybody who had their arms up to catch it. And people were ordering and I didn't even follow up with them. My first 90 days, like almost all those people never thrived again because I never did it. I never helped them. And so I've gone back to a lot of them over the years and said, I'm so sorry. Like I was totally new. And so you can always revisit that. All right, so where do you do a paid sample? If somebody is asking you and you're talking about it, you've got these people you're conversating, but they've not bitten on the 30 days. You go to the 2 weeks, they're not biting on the 2 weeks. Then you can say to them, hey, look, I don't do this often, but I do want to offer this to you because I know what this product is going to do for you. And I know being skeptical, like I was skeptical too. And I can put together a sample for you, and this is what it'll cost. And so at that time, I may offer them a week. I may say, you can pay me $50 and I'll send you a week's supply. You're not going to make any money on it, but at least then you're giving them an option. Because I will say some of the team members, like I would say 50% of team members start on a sample. Did you guys start on a sample? I know Alexa did.
No.
You didn't. Y'all ordered right away.
Yeah.
Good for you. Y'all are like the smart ones. Really. You trusted your friends.
When I ordered, I only ordered the shakes and the capsules. I did them separately because I didn't want to spend that extra money. And now going back, I feel so dumb. I told Natalie within the first week, I was like, I should have ordered those patches. And she was like, I told you. And then I never did. And then the next month, whenever I was running out of stuff, I just went ahead and did everything. So
yeah, I know Alexa just said she was a hard sell. I mean, here's the thing. We wanted I knew it would do what it would do for people. And Alexa, I think we gave her like maybe 7 to 10 days totally for free. I'm pretty sure. Maybe it was more than normal, 10 days. Yeah.
She said 10 days.
Yeah, we did.
I had someone ask me earlier, what all products do you like the most? And I was like, well, I can give you a list of what all I've done so far and what I do daily. Like, I've legit like tried almost everything just about.
I know.
And then I find the ones that I like and what I don't like.
Yeah.
But 90% of it, I like it. So
yeah, I like it all too. I don't necessarily use it all every day because I don't really need it all. But there are certain things that I do, I use pretty regularly. So you'll see that.
oh yeah,
cool,
I do
though.
like most of them every day. Just
yeah. Yeah. So I would think about like just being flexible with your samples. Now here's a place where you do want to offer a free sample. Okay. So I'll give you like a scenario. Like there's a girl, she's, you guys probably haven't seen much of her because she's been around for a while and she's not in, y'all's upline, but, she's an 80K. I literally she was a friend of mine, a personal friend of mine. And I knew that she would kill the business if she liked the product, but I knew she was super cheap. Her husband was super cheap and they thought that they were doing, like they were really into nutrition and they thought they had all the nutrition. She was never, ever going to buy the product. I knew that. So I said to her, hey, I'm coming to your neighborhood. I was going to her neighborhood for something. If I give you and your husband a sample, will you do it and will you keep in touch with me? And now that like she's been on my team for a few years, she said to me, I only was doing it so you'd leave me alone. Like that's what she told me. She goes, I thought I was appeasing you. I'll do your stinking sample and then you'll quit bothering me. Like, that's honestly what she said. But they felt it. Like, they didn't feel amazing, but they felt enough to order. And then she earned a car. She's been in the business now for 3.5 years, something like that. So, but the cool thing is like, had I not given her a sample, she never would have done it. So there are situations like that. Alexa, has she not ever been given a sample? She probably never would have done it. And that, you guys may never have known about it. So I do think there's a time and a place to give free samples. So I don't want you to hear that I'm saying like, don't do free samples. Yeah, she said I wouldn't have, to be honest. I know that. It's okay. And I don't think Natalie would have either. So if you know that about someone, it's okay to do it. I just want everyone to like not make the same mistakes I made with giving it out, and not like having that expectation and that follow up, and really being able to follow up with them every single day. Messaging them that morning that they start, making sure they know how to take it. And a lot of times instead, I'll say, do you notice if you're feeling anything yet? Do you notice how good you're feeling yet? I'll say, what'd you mix your lifestyle mix with this morning? Just so we can like connect. What flavor did you do this morning?
That's what I done in my things. I wrote in how they would do it, like step 1, step 2, step 3. And I wrote an arrow, and then on the back of the piece of paper, I said, let me know when you get your package. Check in with me after your 3rd day is almost out. And then I done like some little smiley, I
Perfect.
doodled.
Yeah.
But that's what I done basically. And some of them I've already sent my referral link to set up their account and browse around more, because one girl was like, well, what all do you like? What all have you done? All this stuff. So
that's good. So what I would do, Hannah, if you don't have free accounts with them, I would set the free account up, like go on and do that. That way they have access to it.
Yeah, I've got
you got that done?
To go through with it so far. Most of them haven't read my message yet because homeschooling and all that stuff.
I know.
But 3 of them have done it so far. So
perfect. Good. And then just in the future, I would try to get them before you can, like sort of through that step. And then as soon as you guys think about it, like once they do that sample, the other place to do a free sample that I will do a lot, I try to average 2 to 4 samples a week. Like that's what I feel comfortable that I can manage. So that's, usually somewhere between 10 and 20 samples a month. Now, if I know I'm really, really busy, like the end of the month right now, I didn't send out a lot of samples last week because I know at the end of the month, I'm not going to have a ton of time to like hand hold a bunch of samplers. But the beginning of the month, usually the first 2 weeks, I'm like, let's get some samples out. So where I will find sometimes people to sample is if it's their birthday. I don't message them on their birthday, but I usually message them 1 to 5 days after their birthday, because like people always message people on their birthday, right? And so I use usually 2 because I'm delayed, because I'm not usually on time with birthdays because I'm just get delayed with those things. So I'll message them. I'll, get like 3 or 4 days in a row, and I'll say, okay, who do I want to offer a sample to? Who do I really feel like needs this product? And I'll just say, hey, look, like I am sending some samples out in the mail tomorrow. Have you ever experienced Thrive before? Is this something like, are you looking for energy, digestion? Like I'll name some things I think that they may be interested in, and say, if I send you this sample for your birthday, will you allow me to walk alongside you? Like, will you experience it when I do it? And just sort of make it a sense of urgency. And then I'll mail them a birthday sample. Because I will tell you, samples do work. They really, truly work. I just don't want people, I want people to always know all the mistakes that I made. So any questions you guys have about sampling? No? Was that helpful at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And don't feel like you can't make your own sort of like concoction of samples. I mean, there's a lot of times that I will do a bigger sample for someone if I really feel like, I don't know. Sometimes if you get that gut feeling, like it was a gut feeling with Alexa, like it just was like, okay, like she may take a little longer to feel it. she'd probably be really great at the business. I don't know. There's just something like you feel that gut, then you want to really, it's investing. It's just investing in someone else, someone else's help, someone else's start into their business. So as soon as they start to feel it, or as soon as they start asking you questions, there's 2 routes to go. One route is getting them to order, as a customer. And the other route is if you think that they're a promoter. And I always say, like, don't judge them, like, don't predetermine for them, just ask them. We have all these every single week we have something you can invite to become a promoter. And so I always just use the terminology and say, hey, are you open to learning more about how you can earn income from your home? Especially if they're at-home moms, or, they've gotten furloughed, or something's going on with their jobs right now. And I usually just will explain to people, like, if it's, you want an extra a few $100s a month, you can earn that. If you want to achieve, $20,000 a week, you can achieve that too. Like, it takes more time and it takes more effort, but the possibilities are limitless, like anywhere in between. So that was really all I wanted to share with you guys. I know we hadn't chatted about samples, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited for y'all about all the samples. So y'all just let me know if y'all have any questions.
I don't think so.
No? Okay. Well, I hope that was helpful. And if y'all need, of course, any of us to get on or help with the sample, or do anything else, just let me know. And I'll put the recording up too. Alexa, I'll put this up in your group so you can, other people can watch it.
Okay.
I'm proud of you girls. That's so awesome.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.